Evening. We're at the start of Wild Camp Part 3, or my third attempt at wild camping, and hopefully it just won't be an attempt. This evening I'm at Detling. You might be able to hear the sound of the road behind me, the A249. Detling's over there behind me, and I'm heading up over there, beyond that scar, to a place called Thurnham Castle, a derelict castle, to see if I can camp for the night. Unfortunately today there's a lot of uphill, so I've parked in Detling village and I've got to climb Detling hill, which is only about 150 metres, but I've got a 16.2 kilo rucksack on my back, so as you can tell I've packed light again. Goodness knows how I managed to get my rucksack so heavy. And talking of 16.2 kilograms, that happens to be exactly the amount of weight that I lost when I first started cycling. It's the second week in September, and as I was driving down here, the car told me it was 22 degrees C out, which is balmy for this time of year. I should get some clear skies overnight as well. This is becoming the walk of a million gates. Well, there's not a lot of this castle left. I guess that's why it's called ruins though. This looks pretty familiar. Pretty sure somebody went up here. And in fact, this flattened grass, that probably means somebody's been here recently. Okay, so it's about 25 past 7 now. The sun's just gone down. Had a really nice sunset. I don't know whether you can see any of it over there. And tent set up. So I haven't got any of my sleeping stuff in it yet though. Just got my dinner on. It's some spaghetti bolognese that I bought from home. Moon's up. Still beautifully warm. Must be about 17 degrees now, at 7:30 in the evening. This isn't quite as quiet as my previous camps. So a motorbike just pulled up nearby. Not sure what they're up to. So I left my beer an hour after I got here today, and opened it, and it said excited. I sprayed myself with beer, and now I smell the beer. I'm going to go inside the tent, and my tent's going to smell of beer. Hopefully the little bugs that are out and about aren't attracted by Brewdog beer. Fortunately, I haven't heard any more of the motorbikes. I don't know whether they're over there somewhere, having a beer too, or whether they've gone. What I can hear is the M20 motorway, which is quite noisy up here because there's not a breath of wind, and the only other sound are the crickets.
perils of trying to wild camp in the overpopulated southeast of England. I seem to have some revellers nearby, playing some music, singing quite well in tune, not too noisy. It's only about 9 o'clock, so I can't really complain. But it sure isn't a Welsh mountain somewhere.
Morning. Just having my first coffee of the morning. Good old AeroPress Go. It's about 6:30 now. And according to my watch, I got 5 hours 47 minutes of sleep last night, which is none too shabby for wild camping. And I feel extremely rested this morning. After the balmy weather of yesterday, it cooled down quite a bit overnight. I think the forecast said to about 10 degrees. My 3-season sleeping bag did me proud. I was actually too hot a number of times overnight and had to stick various appendages outside of the sleeping bag with it unzipped just to keep cool enough. The one downside, orienting your tent towards the west for the sunset, is that then you have to get out of your tent to see the sunrise because it's in the opposite direction. If only the flat earthers were right, we could actually see the sunrise and sunset in the same place. Is that what the flat earthers say? That sounds like something they'd say. I'm sure that is. We're over there towards my right. Didn't actually stay too long last night. After their little bit of singing, listening to music, a bit of laughing, they started to go about 9:30 and they'd all gone by 9:45. I had noticed on YouTube that Thurnham Castle is allegedly haunted, but I've just looked up and apparently back in 2011 a group went ghost hunting here and they started the ghost hunt, and just beyond the mound, which is where I am, was a very active spot, although they don't know why. So they held a seance, and a male energy called Terry, of all things, came to them. And they believed he was a soldier from the Second World War, and he didn't bother me at all, unless it was Terry, who likes to rave on a Saturday night and drives a moped. Now the sun's up, I show you my little spot. So this is the footpath over to the castle, and I am up this little track down here just around the corner. This is the new sleeping pad. What's really nice about it is in the middle there are 2 layers of air cells, air springs, so your body is kept really high up off the ground, but that's quite heavy. So in the areas around your feet where you don't need it so much, it's much thinner and much lighter. I wonder, does anybody actually truly relish the idea of wrestling your sleeping bag back into its stuff sack in the morning? But on the plus side, it does warm me up. Look, breakfast. Nature's harvest. Nice and quiet up here, but now I've got a flight of stairs to go up. Hello Mr. Spider, nearly walked straight into your web which is strung across the path. Now I've got to try and step over. Wow, would you look at that tree root? So I'm disturbing the ladies' breakfast this morning. There sure are a lot of them in this field. Okay, so my campsite last night was just up there on top of that hill. And I came out, walked down the valley, up into that tree line up there, all the way to the right there, along to the end of those trees, and I've come back across these fields here, coming back to the road. Okay, coming back up into Thurnham village now, back into some sort of civilization. And a Black Horse pub. Okay, so this is St Mary's Church at Thurnham. One of those typical Kent churches. Coming to the end of another thoroughly enjoyable wild camping experience number 3. Fortunately, thus far I've not been turned off of anywhere. Last night was a little noisier than normal, but still managed to get through it fine. Really getting to enjoy this wild camping malarkey. Gets me out of the house, gets me away from work, actually out in nature. So good for the soul. No issues with cows this time, but some strange people. There was a lady with the highly excitable dog that would just run round in circles until the end of its leash and then nearly throttle itself. There was the lady with her daughter who was in tears because a cow had tried to eat their camp chair. There's the runner lady with the 2 Labradors who let them both poo and didn't bother picking it up. There's the Dutch chap who stopped for a chat for ages, trying to put the world to rights, saying what a lovely part of the world we live in, which is really pleasing to hear. So, just coming to the end now, walking back up to the road, back up to the car, after only about 5 miles walk. But it's been very uppy and downy and narrow, and there's been a million gates. I'll sign off now then. Bye bye.